Hey guys, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. So, we're just going to get straight into the build. Well, actually, before we get into the build, I'm going to tell you a little story. It's not really a story, it's just something that happened just now. So, I recorded the entire voiceover for this video without the screenshots is just barely over 25 minutes long. And I recorded the whole thing. And I heard my husband talking to our roommate, like, very briefly upstairs. And this is partly my fault. I didn't close my bedroom door before I did this recording, but I also didn't think that he would pick up in the mic all the way from upstairs, but he did. And he basically made a voice appearance throughout the entire recording. So unfortunately, I had to get rid of it. And it kind of works out because, to be honest, I didn't realize how much I say, it's so bad. But this just kind of makes it a good learning experience for me to, one, work on my speech, and two, work on my speech. That's pretty much it. So, my last video, I had to cut out, I didn't cut out too many ums. I think I left a few in there because some of them don't sound annoying, but when I'm sitting there like, yeah, which I do a lot, and I know I do a lot in real life because this is literally just me talking. I'm just chilling. I'm looking at my build. I'm talking about it, and I say so damn much. So, I apologize. But also, I cut out, like, I don't know if I really had to guess. It wasn't that many, maybe 5 or 6 ums. And my last video was longer than this one. So you're going to come across some ums when you're just trying to figure out what you're saying. And I get easily distracted too. So that's obvious in my builds. I often jump around from room to room and placing random items, whether it's clutter or plants or whatever. It's usually clutter though. I'll come across something and I'm like, this will go so well in here. And I just throw it in that room really quick. But this build, it's not, so it ends up being very cute. I think it's good. The landscaping is okay. It's very green, which you can totally get away with in Strangerville, even though it is very kind of like, it gives off like, it seems like dry and arid, and I'm not totally sure what the weather is really like here in Strangerville because I've only played for like maybe 3 sim days here. I don't know if it's like Oasis Springs where it's often more warm, but it's still very lush. So I put a lot of greenery outside, quite a few debug plants. Whoa, what? The debug plants that I surround the entire lot with are like my new favorite plant. You'll probably see that in a lot of my builds because you can size it down and it looks good. It looks good, and it looks good the way it is too. Here, I will say this since we're looking at it. These 2 archways kill me. They kill me. So I end up going with the more rounded arch here. So for anyone that is like the aesthetic drives them crazy, don't worry, I fix it. It doesn't look too obvious or too bad from like the entryway, like the foyer area. But if you're standing kind of where that hutch is in between the dining room and the kitchen area, it kills. Like it looks bad. So I end up, doing the more circular archway. So this is what I'm talking about. I came across that Country Kitchen Kit shelf, and I hadn't used it in any of my builds yet. And I was like, I want to use this because even though it's a Victorian house, I kind of want it to be a little farmy, but I didn't know where to put it in here. So I just threw it in the entryway. I end up not using it. But I do that a lot. I'll come across something, especially things that I haven't used yet. Like if I got a new pack or all of a sudden I come across an item and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that this is what it is. I'll put it somewhere that I think it looks good, whether I end up using it or not. But often I bounce from room to room, and that's something I need to work on. So me saying less and not getting distracted. I really need to work on those two things. Yeah, that's just something that I need to work on. That's something that you guys need to worry about here. But again, I did the country kitchen kit counters and cabinets, and I kind of used the whole kit in here actually with the clutter items that I ended up picking. I don't know, I just really like it. And what I envisioned for this house, and this is the family that I have living in this house, I will upload them to the gallery as well. I think I'm going to do that in future builds, move whoever you want into these houses, but it only makes sense for me to upload a household and a lot for you guys. Just so if you're like, hey, I really like this house, I want to place it on this empty lot here, then you can throw a family in there too. I don't really like when random families move into my houses. Like Father Winter is a neighbor of mine in one of my other worlds, and I'm just like, Father Winter, you belong in the North Pole, so please don't live in my 70s style house. No. So yeah, I'll upload this family, but the family that I envisioned living here, and that does live here for me, is a grandmother. She likes to paint. I don't think that's one of her traits, but I figure it could be a skill of hers. And she also gardens just a few flowers on her back porch, and she has one of those little floral arranging benches back there as well. So those are the things that she's into. She also has a little dog. I forget the dog's name, and I can't even actually think of the names of the people that live here either, but she has like a little cocker spaniel, and I end up placing a dog mailbox in the front yard as well. So I was like, she lives here with her dog and her granddaughter, and she's just into little dogs. So eventually, once her dog passes away, she'll get another little dog. So there's a little pet bed upstairs in the master bedroom, which is the grandmother's bedroom, and she is raising her granddaughter. I don't have a story for this other than the grandmother is raising her granddaughter and she's into dogs. And the granddaughter, she's a child, so she has her own bedroom upstairs, and she doesn't mind dogs, but she likes cats. So maybe I was thinking when she's a teen or like a young adult, I'll have her adopt a cat. And in her room now, since she's a child, she has, I don't have a toy box in there because I couldn't really find like a good spot for one. And I didn't want to clutter up the house too much. I wanted to make this house be very organized and just kind of be how a lot of times I clutter up houses, and I'm just kind of trying to step out of my comfort zone a little bit here. So sometimes if I don't have room for a toy box in a kid's room, I'll put one in like the living room, or I'll put one in like a playroom or something like that. Or every now and then I will put one in the backyard if I have like a little area for the kids to play in. But here I just didn't feel the need, and I didn't really want to put one. So, but I did give her a couple of toys to play with. So she has a little cat action figure and a horse action figure on her nightstand. Those end up, going in their inventory overall once your sim goes around and cleans the house, if that's what they choose to do. So she does have some toys to play with, and she also, since I said she likes cats, so she has that cat toy, and then she also has an oversized cat stuffed animal upstairs. And I didn't realize until this build, and I've done this before, so I don't know if I have some weird looking oversized stuffed animals in my kids' bedrooms somewhere, but I sized down the cat, and then I was like, wait, the arms look weird. And then I was like, oh, I've sized down so many of these oversized stuffed animals before. I usually just size it down one size. 2 sizes is too small, and then it's really going to look weird. I don't know if it's just the cat one or if like all of the oversized stuffed animals do that, but the arms looked so weird. So I left it big. And her room's a bit small, so that's another reason why there's, no toy box in there. But yeah, so the family that lives here, it's a grandmother, her child granddaughter, and a little dog. And, maybe one day she'll let her have a cat. And I'm trying to think of the aspirations. Can't think of them. Sorry. But yeah, we've got this, I think this house turned out really well. I said in my last build, which was my first speed build, you guys should go check that out, that often when I build houses in The Sims, I go off of a floor plan. And this one, I did go off the floor plan for the downstairs, and I think it turned out very well. A lot of the times they just don't translate right. They just don't always look good when you go off of a floor plan, especially if you're trying to be very specific and down to the T when it comes to details. But the downstairs, I struggled a little bit with the living room. There ends up being a TV in the living room. That'll be in the screenshots. It's not here. The house barely... Where did I end up putting the TV? Actually, now that I think about it, I think it's kind of in the corner of the living room. So it does change the look a little bit, but overall, the furniture is in the same spot. I think I got rid of one of the little corner armchairs to fit the TV there. It's on like one of those little TV stands. But yeah, I went off of a floor plan for this one, and it was mostly just so I could get this more modern Victorian look. And I wasn't necessarily going for a modern Victorian, but I just kind of came across this one Victorian house, and it's definitely more modern. And I can build a Victorian house, but when it comes to building it in a timely manner, for the sake of this speed build, I didn't want it to be too long. So I was like, let's go off of a photo and, we'll go from there. I also struggled with the upstairs. You'll see this coming up. I struggle with it, but it ends up working out really well. I think everything makes sense. It's very functional. It's realistic as to what you would see if you were to go look at, an open house or a model home. So I am happy with the way it turned out. It's overall not my personal style, or it's not a house that I would often build, but considering, it looks good. And I think the master ends up looking slightly different over here in this little corner. And it's so, I think the dresser is like on the other side, like on the other wall. And you'll see at some point I do put 2 armchairs in the corner, but I, envisioned it being just a grandmother living here. So you don't need 2 armchairs there. I mean, her granddaughter could come sit in the room with her and chill a little bit, but I end up making it 1 armchair over by the window with the pet bed, and I put a hamper and a plant, and then I just moved the dresser over to the other wall. So whatever you see in the screenshots is what you're going to get if you do decide to download this from the gallery. And yeah, so there's a total of 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Well, it's 2.5 bath. The bathroom downstairs doesn't have a shower or a tub, but it does have a washer and dryer. And the 3rd bedroom, I was originally going to make it a spare bedroom, but then I was like, well, this household doesn't have any other family, and they're new to Strangerville, and they're just new to the game in general, so they don't have any friends right now. So let's not worry about making it a spare bedroom. No one's going to be staying the night, let's be real. So I made it a little art studio for the grandmother, and that's kind of when I decided, well, I already placed an easel downstairs, but when I did that, I was like, I already have an idea for the 3rd bedroom. And I scratched the idea in my head of it being a spare, and I was just like, let's just make it a little art studio for the grandma. So it's pretty basic. It's not cluttered up. This build is not cluttered. I just kind of imagined the grandma being a little bit more on the clean side. And even though she has a little granddaughter living with her that's a child, they can be a little more messy. They're not. They're still very organized. No clutter. The only thing that's really cluttered up is the kitchen, which I feel like even if you're into minimal living, you probably don't have a cluttered kitchen. But I feel like kitchens are very easy to clutter without purposely cluttering it, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so they live here together. They've got the dog, and I don't think I actually have a career for this grandmother. When I moved them in, I just did the free real estate cheat. But I just figured, she's retired, she was probably married at one point and maybe her husband passed away. And so she inherited some money. So she's got some money. She doesn't need to work, but she can make money off of the flower arrangements that she's into and maybe the paintings as well. You know, she has a whole art studio dedicated to it. So why not? She can make money that way. And then, you know, if you've got aging on before you know it, this little girl's going to be, you know, a teenager. She can get a part-time job, or, you know, she'll be a young adult and she can go to school and make good money. I also envisioned that eventually when the grandmother passes away, it's the inevitable. The granddaughter's going to inherit this house. And I don't know, maybe she keeps it furnished the way it is. Maybe she changes it up and updates it a little bit and makes it even more of a modern Victorian. But I would like to see her keep it, you know, I don't know, keep some of the original properties of it. So yeah, that's just kind of what I pictured when I was building this house. And yeah, this is the second time that I've done this voiceover. I don't know if I already mentioned that, so I'm so sorry. I'm tired. It's Sunday. I woke up kind of early. We had someone come and look at our condo today because we're moving. And I don't know. I just have like a lot on my plate right now. Moving in general will just make you tired. I mean, we haven't actually started the process of moving or anything yet, but other than people coming and looking at our place. Yeah, I'm just tired. And I made my first speed build yesterday. Well, I had already had it edited and everything, but yesterday was when I got my microphone. So I did a voiceover yesterday, and I actually, if you watched my other speed build, I think I mentioned in it that was like the 4th or 5th time that I was recording my voiceover. So I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but yeah, I had to redo this voiceover because it was my fault. I didn't close the bedroom door, and my husband was talking the entire time, and you could hear him throughout almost the entire build. Just so faint, but still enough to the point where I was like, ugh, I need to redo that. So here I am doing it again, and now I'm running out of things to say. And in the first voiceover, I actually talked all the way up until the screenshots, which overall is the goal. But yeah, it's a 25-minute video before screenshots. I know I already said that. But here we are moving on to the little studio. I put this rug or tarp down. I mean, really whatever you want to call it. This easel. Everything in here is wood now that I think about it. So I put this, I don't know what that is called, but it's like a little shelf where you put all of your oil paintings. And then I put this crate in here, the stack of crates. And I was like, doesn't totally go. Like, to me, that screams more of like a sim that juices, or that's something that would like go in your garage, like just kind of like storage. But since this grandma doesn't have much clutter at all, and she seems very clean and organized, maybe that's just the little bit of storage that she needs in there. And who knows, maybe there's paintbrushes and paint and things like that in there. So I don't know, I just thought it went well with like the wood theme in there. And then now looks like we're on to the, in my opinion, the always dreaded landscaping. And I say dreaded because I think my landscaping ends up always looking good or decent. It's not the best, but there's definitely room for improvement, but it's not horrible. But it's just, I mentioned this in my last video, the debug menu is hard for me to navigate. I can never remember where anything is, and it's just, I don't know. I just never really know what to do with landscaping. Unless I'm specifically, say I'm watching a movie and this one house has a really cute backyard, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to build a house in The Sims with this backyard. Then my landscaping looks bomb. But this build was more just, it was an empty lot before. So I wanted to build something here that fit in with the neighborhood. And I looked up pictures of a Victorian house, and here we go. But I don't even remember if that picture actually had any landscaping. So this was purely just all off of what I felt went well, and it's not bad. It ends up being a cute lot overall, like inside and out. But yeah, I'm just not really a landscaping person. I really like to furnish and clutter. Clutter's my thing. So yeah, it's whenever I get to the landscaping, I'm like, ugh, a lot of the times, well, this is only my second speed build, but I've noticed a lot of the times when it comes to just if I'm playing or I'm building a house and I'm getting up to the landscaping portion, I'll landscape a little bit, but then I'm like, okay, you know what? Save, exit. Like I'm moving in a family. I'm going to start playing the family. Like as much as I like building, I really like playing too. So sometimes I get a little worn out, especially when it comes down to the part where I need a landscape. So I had kind of lost interest at this point, but I think it ends up looking really good. Right there, I was going to put like a little sandbox, but then I don't know, I put up the picket fence and I was like, well, we're definitely not going that route. Like it just looked weird. I'm sure once I like would have landscaped a little bit more, it may have looked fine, but I was like, let's just do the monkey bars. They'll just be by themselves. Like they don't need to have a sandbox. And the reason I kind of thought sandbox was because it's a little more of like a dry kind of world here in Strangerville. So I was like, naturally there's probably sand somewhere in this world. So I was like, let's put a sandbox. But then I was just like, it looks stupid. Get rid of it. So I ended up putting a koi pond back here because I didn't really know what to do with this space. And a lot of the times my builds, I end up putting a pool for that reason. And I also wasn't sure what the weather was like too much here in Strangerville. Like I said, I had played this family for about 3 sim days here. So I didn't really get to experience too much of the weather. I don't even remember what season it was when I was playing here. So I was like, a pool might be good here, but I put pools in all of my builds and I need to challenge myself a little bit. So I didn't put a pool here, but I ended up putting the koi pond, which is kind of the same thing. It's not functionally the same, but it takes up just as much room and it's water. So it's kind of the same. But I love the koi pond. I love how it comes all landscaped. It's really pretty. And I think it goes well here. And I think that the grandmother would like to admire the koi pond and like to play with the koi. Wait, can the adults play as well or just the kids? I really don't know now that I'm saying this. But here is where I'm starting to build or add and furnish to the little back patio here. So I placed some little garden pots down so she can, start gardening some flowers for her flower arrangement bench. And I think it made it into the recording, but not into the build. I end up putting a bird feeder back here because I put a bird bath, and it only makes sense to actually attract real birds in the game with your bird feeder, but it ended up looking kind of stupid in my opinion, so I got rid of it. Here I also placed the cookie jar up on the fridge, which I thought would only make sense because like I said, there's a little granddaughter living here, and I remember at my great-grandparents' house, they always had cookies, and they were like really good cookies from Costco too. And they would put them up on the very top of the cabinet. And I think it just kind of makes sense. Like I'm sure one day when I have children, like I'm definitely going to hide like the snacks that I only want for myself. Like selfishly, I don't want to share everything. So I'm going to be putting some of the goodies like up above, like whether it's, in the pantry or wherever they end up. So I really liked that I did that. And I think I've done that in a couple of builds before. I try to do stuff realistically, you guys. Let's see. Where are we at here? Oh, perfect. We're coming up in the screenshots and I'm starting to lose track of what I'm saying. And I'm really working on not saying and it's really hard. But yeah, here we're coming up on the screenshots, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this this video and this build and my future builds. And I'll leave everything linked below so you guys can check out my other builds and download some stuff from the gallery. So I will see you guys in a future build. Bye.